the long run, the cornerstone of all marathon training, probably the most important run that you will ever do as part of your training. And today, 119 days to go, episode 9. I'm going to take you on my long run today, where it'll be 24 kilometers of beautiful English countryside here in Worcestershire. So if you are new here, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe and hit that alarm bell, because you don't want to miss any more epic videos on our journey onto Marathon Day. So let's go. So in today's video, as the bells are chiming, I'll be going through the two key elements of the long run, and that is pace and how long should you be out for. Because last week in episode 8 I talked about nutrition, hydration, which I'll be going through anyway, but the two key things I'll discuss, as mentioned, what pace should we do a long run at and how long should we be out for. Welcome along the beautiful River Severn here in Worcester, where I'm starting today's long run, Sunday for me. One of the things I didn't mention is some people have asked, what day should you do a long run? Well, I think it doesn't really matter, but I did read somewhere a while back, many years ago, where the idea of when you do a long run is to coincide with race day, because our bodies are creatures of habit. So if Marathon Day is Sunday, ideally, this article said, do the long run on Sunday or Saturday, Monday, but as close to Sunday as possible. Now, I don't know what the science is there, but it might be to do with muscle memory, it's ready to go. Also about time of day, you know, do your long runs at the time of the day when your body will be racing your marathon. Does that make sense? That's my little extra before I go on about pace and time to be out, because it's beautiful being out here right now, early morning, Sunday, peaceful, quiet, other runners out and about, beautiful. So as I'm passing the weir here on the River Severn, we're here, hey, not we are here, the weir, yes, I know, bad joke. So the pace, what pace should we be doing a long run? Well, the clue is in what I'm doing right now. I'm talking to you, comfortable, so keeping it simple. I won't go into all the science and confuse everybody. Conversational, that's what it needs to be. Now there's different levels of conversational, but the way I'm doing now, just talking to you, comfortable. And it doesn't matter what pace it is, because we're all at different levels of fitness. So there are people who talk about a certain amount of minutes per mile slower than marathon pace, X% of maximum heart rate, all that type of scientific stuff, which is great, but let's just keep it simple for now. Conversational pace, that's where it needs to be. Now the other thing about pace, the wonderful thing is if you are running at the right pace, conversational, you can have a chitty chat with your running buddies that you're running with. Yeah, that's always a bonus, isn't it? But the mistake I always used to make, and I mentioned this in the previous video, where towards the end of my long runs my speed and energy would really drop off dramatically, whilst people suggested, oh, lack of hydration, water, lack of nutrition, pop in gels. Some people seem to think the more gels you take, the longer you can run and the faster you can go. Oh buddy. But it's all about it turned out I was running at marathon pace. When I came to the marathon, the speed I was doing these long runs was, in fact, it was probably mildly quicker than marathon pace. Yeah, bonkers, eh? Bonkers. Because I've been running along feeling really good like this, which is fine for 5k, 10k, 20k, but then all of a sudden, bosh, your energy goes down. And that's what it was. I was going too fast. There wasn't any YouTube video at the time giving all this wonderful correct suggestion, and it's only of recent times that people are now publishing, in order to run fast in marathon you've got to train slowly. That's literally only in the past 12-18 months, which is bonkers really, because we have known a while, yeah, well, at least I have. After making those first mistakes, we live and learn, don't we? Live and learn. The other point I was making, how long do you go out for a long run? How long, distance wise, time wise? It's like the $1 million question, isn't it? But words I take from one of the top professional coaches, and again, if you look hard enough you'll see this around, and it's all based on certain theories, dynamics, body dynamics and so on, and that is the 3-hour rule. Yeah, not to be out on a long training run for a marathon no more than 3 hours. Now I think you can push it maybe to 3:15, maybe 3 hours 30 tops, because there is a dependency on your speed, pace, which was the early point I made. Now the reason for this, and you probably, before you get your pitchforks out and go, whoa, that's a load of rubbish, it takes me 6 hours to do 15 miles. Well, yeah, it takes you 6 hours to 15 miles, that's fine, but it's still 3 hours, because the training for marathon is just to get our bodies used to being time on feet, and 3 hours, up to 3.5 hours, is plenty, whatever speed we're going at. In fact, some people say you need to do longer for ultras, but I would counter that argument with the 100-mile world record holder lady. The most she'd ever done on long training runs was 20 miles. Yeah, and for this lady, being at quite a speed, her pace, it was less than 3 hours, yeah, on each individual run. She may have gone and done double long runs, like a 20 miler in the morning and a 20 mile in the afternoon, but, and bearing in mind, world record holder, 100 miles, completely different to marathon distance. So hopefully that's planted in there, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments below what kind of feedback you had, what you're following, and let's continue on this long run and I'll give you a few little extras. So whilst those are the two key items I wanted to cover, be sure to stick to the very end of this video, because I'm going to be throwing in some little extras and nuggets of information as I go along, as it comes into my head. And the first one is it okay to walk during sections of the long run? Simple answer is yes, absolutely, it's okay to walk. In fact, if you want to take on your gels whilst you're walking, nutrition, hydration, that's totally fine. It gets you used to walking and running long distances, which can sometimes happen during a marathon, as I only too well know. Yes. The second nugget of information is stick to the plan, stick to the plan, stick to your plan. Yes, do not deviate from plan. I see so many people where they're coming towards the end of a training run, a long run, and they say, I felt really good and I've done another 5k or 10k at the end of it. No, 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 no. The reason why you feel good is the training is working. And if you do those extra miles, it'll wear you out and burn you out for the sessions you're going to be doing during the rest of the week. So stick to the plan. Yeah. The third nugget, which is similar to sticking to the plan, is towards the end of a run, in particular a long run, doesn't matter how fresh or good you feel, don't put in any fast kilometers, miles at the end, because it will really be detrimental to the rest of the week's training. So keep it easy all the way. The next nugget of information is running shoes for the long run. Can you run the long runs in your race day shoes? Absolutely yes. In fact, I would actively encourage it, with one caveat. The one caveat is if you are racing in carbon plated shoes, not to use those on your long runs. Yep. Don't get into debate with me. There's some science somewhere, research shown it's not good to be training regularly in carbon plated shoes. But that aside, for me, in my early days, certainly the first 3, 4, 5 marathons, I would do the long runs, most of me runs, in the same pair of shoes. In fact, for my first marathon, I only had one pair of shoes, was running those, the Brooks Ghost 8. When they worn out, I bought another pair of Brooks Ghost 8, and the ones I'd done the long runs in, everyday runs, were my race day shoes. So 100% yes. You're probably wondering right now, what shoes am I running in for me? Well, it's the Nike Invincible 2, which I did run the Warwick Half Marathon last week. But my race day shoe planned, it may change, is the new ones I bought back in the sale, the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. That's the plan for me at the moment. Another top tip, nugget of information: depending how confident you are for the long runs, you can either do an out and back or a big circular route if you've planned it out, bearing in mind, keeping in mind the pace and time on feet, or you can find a loop, whether it be a 5k loop, 10k loop. And the beauty of these loops, in particular say a 5k loop, is you can have a water bottle, gels and stuff hidden away in a place where you know where it is, and each time you complete a loop you can stop for hydration, nutrition if you need to. So that's my little nugget, is do multi-loops depending on confidence. For me right now, it's out and back. I'm familiar with this route and it works for me. Beautiful canal, countryside, traffic free. All I hear is the birds and the bees. Did you hear that rhyme? Traffic free, and all I hear is the birds and bees. I know, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. My next nugget, as I'm passing this narrow boat on the canal, is not to be tempted to race boats, people, during your long runs, because I refer back to the other one: stick to the plan, don't burn your energy up, just keeps a nice steady pace. Yeah, so I'm checking me heart rate and effort, and it's literally bang on, give or take 5 beats, depending whether I'm hitting an incline or not, goes up or down. But don't race in between sections, yeah, unless it's on your plan. Another top tip, as I just forgot what I had to do before the start of this run, because I'm now feeling it between the legs, so to speak. Yes, put some Vaseline, whatever, gels between your legs, your crotch, to stop the chafing. Yes, after a certain point, whatever the weather, the sweat kicks in and then the chafing may start. Oh yes, not pleasant. So yeah, even I keep forgetting, so remember that as a top tip. You don't want to be chafing on your long runs. So my final nugget, as I've now finished my run, and yes, the battery on this GoPro has run out. You can hear the background, the bells of Worcester Cathedral. What a beautiful way to finish a long run. My last nugget before the battery ran out was going to say, make sure that by the end of your long run, if you feel battered, worn out, exhausted, or any of those, then you've either been going too fast or too far for your current level of fitness. That was going to be my last nugget, but the very last thing, as I've now finished, is to celebrate your completion of a long run. So if you're into social media, you can follow me on social media at Poet with Pace on Strava, Twitter, and all that jazz. Celebrate it, because it's nice to get the kudos on there from fellow runners, but also you can go out and have a nice celebratory Sunday lunch. That's right. Enjoy, and I hope you've enjoyed this in some way. Yes, thumbs up, subscribe, and all that jazz. And I look forward to seeing you at next week's 119 days to go, episode 10. I know, not far to go now, guys. Oh, as an addendum, if you wanted to know how long that 24k took me, it was literally 1 minute under 2 hours. So there you go. I feel great. I'm ready for a nice, fun-packed Sunday, and I hope you are too.